The Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent, free from political pressure, but right now, President Trump is pushing to fire one of its governors, Lisa Cook, just days before a critical Fed meeting on interest rates. The administration has gone to a federal appeals court, arguing she shouldn't even be in the room when decisions are made. This fight could reshape not just the Fed, but the credibility of U.S. monetary policy at a time when markets are already on edge. Lisa Cook was confirmed to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors in 2022, the first black woman to ever serve on the board. She's an economist with decades of research on innovation, financial crises, and the global economy. She's also been a vocal defender of the Fed's independence. That's one reason her presence at next week's meeting is so important, and why the administration is trying to get her out. Here's the timeline. In late August, Trump announced he would fire Cook, accusing her of falsifying mortgage records. Importantly, she hasn't been charged with any crime. The president argued those allegations met the legal threshold to remove her for cause. But earlier this week, District Court Judge Gia Cobb issued an injunction blocking Trump's move, saying the president cannot fire her for conduct that allegedly occurred before her Senate confirmation. Now, the Justice Department has filed an emergency appeal, asking the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals to let them proceed immediately, before the Fed meets on Tuesday. At stake is next week's Fed meeting, where policymakers will debate whether to restart interest rate cuts. Trump has been demanding steep cuts for months, saying they're needed to boost growth. The Fed, however, has been cautious, worried that Trump's fiscal policies could reignite inflation. Cook is one of 7 governors with a vote. Her removal could change the balance inside the Fed, and it sends a strong signal that the White House wants loyalists at the table, not independent voices. The legal question is whether the president actually has the authority to fire a Fed governor this way. The administration argues that the Fed statute allows removal for cause, and that the allegations against Cook qualify. Cook's lawyers say otherwise, that alleged pre-confirmation behavior doesn't count, and firing her would destabilize the Fed and the markets. In fact, her team told the appeals court that rushing this decision could plunge the Fed's meeting into turmoil and even disrupt domestic and foreign markets. This isn't just about one governor. Trump has made it clear he wants to reshape the Fed. He's been openly critical of the central bank for not cutting rates as aggressively as he wants. He's already moving allies into key roles, including Stephen Moran, one of his top economic advisors, who's being fast-tracked in the Senate to replace another outgoing governor. Taken together, this points to an effort to align the Fed more closely with the White House, undermining the tradition of central bank independence that's been a bedrock of U.S. economic stability. To wrap up, this fight isn't just about Lisa Cook. It's about the independence of the Federal Reserve, the balance of power between the White House and central bankers, and the credibility of U.S. economic policy at home and abroad. Next week's Fed meeting was already critical. Now, it could become one of the most politically charged in decades. What do you think? Should presidents have the power to fire Fed governors? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the biggest stories shaping the economy.